Hello! Can everyone hear us? Welcome to the Everyone Game stream. I am Jim from Knights of the Braille, Jim, and I am here with Richard from Knights of the Braille.
Don't ask me to spell my name. You know I'm from the South. I'll just say that I'm Richard from the South.
Richard from the South, like Jenny from the block, but slightly cooler.
How dare you?
Well, welcome to the Accessible Tools panel. We're going to do a brief 30 minutes of speaking. I hope our interpreters, Kerry, Ellen, and Jared, who are amazing, thank you for covering this event. If you need us to slow down talking or cover anything or repeat anything, just jump in and let us know, guys. And thank you so much for everything you've done and made this event so much better and more accessible. Yeah, I'd like to say that Everyone Game streams are going great so far. We've raised a lot of money for special effect and able gamers. If you're able to donate, please do. You can do it through the stream, or you can go to our website for more information, everyone-games.com. And yeah, Richard and I are going to cover some accessible tools today. But before we do that, let's just introduce ourselves. I'm going to take a moment to just slow down for a moment, let Kerry Allen catch up with us. Hopefully, I'm not going too fast. Okay.
You're not going too fast for me. I'll let you know if you need to slow down. Thank you.
Thank you. She'll keep busting out those wizard gang signs with her hands as we talk. I'm Jim, and I have Stargardt disease, so I have limited vision. I use heavy magnification, and I also use a screen reader whenever the time counts for it that I need it. Richard, you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Richard, and I use the most current version of JAWS because I am what you call a totally blind person. While I do have light and dark vision, they oddly won't give me a driver's license. Although, funny quick story, the state of Georgia did try to renew my driver's license.
That's why you live in the land of the free, man.
That is why I love the South. Only in the South can you be drunk and blind and get your driver's license renewed.
I'm not going to comment on that. But yeah, today we're covering accessible tools. We're going to share our screen today, but unfortunately with magnification, it creates this infinite number of windows, which look like you're on an acid trip. So we chose not to do that. I actually have a hearing loss myself, so I apologize if I mispronounce things at times. And Richard has some hearing loss as well, so he might say, "What did you say, Jim?" as we go through this. But yeah, we're not able to share the screen, but we'd like to talk through some tools and demonstrate them on mic. In terms of tools, Richard, what do you use when you're playing as a game master or a player, just generally speaking?
Whenever I'm running a game, of course we use Discord. I will use WordPad, Microsoft Edge, or, is the web browser that I personally use. I will use the AVRI or Avri bot. And whenever it's rolling bad for me, I will use a smart device to roll. And usually it rolls bad for me as well. That's pretty much all of the tools that I use. I keep it basic because I'm a very basic person.
No comment there, Georgia.
What did you say, Jim?
Nothing. I didn't say anything, actually. It was just a bit of static. I'm pretty similar. So I use Windows Magnifier for magnification, and I use Windows Narrator as a screen reader at the moment. I have JAWS 2020. I prefer Windows Narrator because it's simple and I don't need that complex tool. It also works very well with Microsoft Edge. I used to be hesitant to use that, but it works very well with PDF. So if you're using a screen reader, Windows Narrator and Microsoft Edge work pretty seamlessly because I know a lot of folks with older versions of JAWS have a ton of trouble. But I typically use Google to roll my dice. I'll use magnification to read PDFs, or I'll use Windows Narrator to read them out to me if my eyes aren't doing so well that day. Richard mentioned Avray. Avray bot is something we have in our Discord server, and it's screen reader friendly. It will read out dice results with you, and there's several other things you can do with it as well. So let's start with the basics. You can roll dice. So all you do is type in the chat exclamation point and then what you want to roll. So it'd be exclamation point R1D20 and it will roll you a D20 and give you the result. You can also add modifiers to that. So exclamation point 1D20 plus 2 and it will give you the total result at the end of that. It's very simple. It allows you to share your roles with everyone. It can also pull information from D&D Beyond. So you can look up spells. So you can type exclamation point spell space and then the name of the spell. It will pull it up and it will give you information on that that you can read through in the chat. It's amazing. If you have anyone visually impaired or blind in your game, it's a great way of sharing information that everyone can go over it. We hopefully get time to cover how to run a game accessibly at the end of this and cover how you should allow people to read through things in a timely manner. But for now, in terms of rolling and in terms of pulling up information from D&D Beyond, works perfectly. In our Knights of the Braille server, I have AvrayBot linked to my D&D Beyond account. So anyone in our server can pull up all the information from D&D Beyond that we have access to, which is pretty much everything they have. And Richard, I'm sure you use the function to pull up spell information and stuff during play when someone's unsure of things.
You want the honest answer, or you want me to lie?
Honest answer.
I usually go to Google because we're all rolling dice in the channel, and it can get kind of clustered. Yeah. And I will go to Google because I'm usually signed into my D&D Beyond account, and I can search there and pull it up quicker than trying to go back through all of the different messages in the text channel. But that's just like me being a DM and trying to go back through all of them.
Yeah, and is that because it's easier to navigate the headings on D&D Beyond rather than the chat and Discord?
It is for me because when you have 5 other people plus myself, which is a total of 6, that's too many headings for me to have to try to go through. Whereas on D&D Beyond, it's a set number of headings to get to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and for anyone listening that's unsure, headings refers to a landmark in a document. So there's hotkeys with a screen reader that allow you to jump from heading to heading, from subheading to bodies of text. It allows those of us using a screen reader to quickly navigate a document. To give you an example that would refer to yourselves, that would be the equivalent of you looking at a page of a book, seeing the larger headings or the images and being able to visually jump to what you're looking to read using your peripheral or your passive reading quite quickly. And we do that digitally using a screen reader with specific hotkeys. Why it's important to lay out your documents accessibly. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's fantastic. The reason I pulled the spell up in the Discord chat is because I love it in D&D or any tabletop game where someone talks about using a spell and then someone's like, oh, I'm pretty sure you use it this way. And then you get into a group debate about how you're going to use it or what it can be used for. And there's a back and forth and they start making plans with the spells. So that's why I bring it up there. But yeah, as Richard says, if you want to keep it as least amount of clutter as possible, Google and D&D Beyond is great. D&D Beyond's accessibility is fantastic in terms of the written content, the modules, the books, everything else. The only thing we have issue with currently are the character sheets on D&D Beyond are not accessible to navigate through with the screen reader. We've had a bit of trouble. You can fumble your way through it with some sighted assistance, but yeah, it's not fully accessible and we have a lot of trouble. So, as of today, we officially have an accessible alternative on our website, knightsofthebraille.com. It's called Accessible Avray. It is a character sheet you can fill out on a Google Sheet and then sync it with Discord. So what does that mean? It means once you fill out our accessible character sheet and follow the instructions to sync it with Discord, if you type in a command to do a strength check or an athletics check or an attack, Discord will automatically take the information from your character sheet and give you a result in the chat. All the information for that is on our website. We're not going to go into it in great detail here, but it's a fantastic tool if you're looking for an accessible alternative and you don't want to have to read through a character sheet or learn it like the back of your hand. This is the first sort of synchronized alternative we've had for an accessible character sheet. Please go and check it out. Give us your feedback. We'll keep updating it as much as you guys need. Accessible Evray. It's on our Knights of the Braille website, www.knightsofthebraille.com. I think that's about it for Avray. Richard, do you have anything you do with Avray that I haven't mentioned?
You can also roll with advantage on with Avery by at the end of it typing a space and doing ADV, or with disadvantage going DIS. So that's really helpful instead of having to type the command to roll twice.
That's fantastic. Yeah, there's tons of cool
Yes.
little commands on there. There's a whole list on their website. The website is accessible to read through. We can put a link to it in the Everyone Games chat after this. Please do check out Avray, fantastic bot. You're welcome to use it in the Knights of the Braille Discord server. We invite anyone to use our server. We can create you a private room, give you all the tools you need access to roll dice, to play music, to make your games accessible and inclusive. Just get in touch with us, knightsofthebraille@gmail.com. Next up on the list, we have the G Lady, Google. Careful if you have a Google at home and you have the speakers on. I'm about to trigger that lady. We use her to roll dice. We use her to set up routines. We're going to go through a bit of that. But Richard, do you use Google?
The website.
The website, but the G Lady never used her.
Nope.
Okay. Well, I'm about to
I have the A Lady.
Oh, okay, yeah. We'll get to the A Lady in a wee bit. We won't make her too jealous, don't worry. So Google is fantastic for rolling dice. How do you roll a dice? Let's do it right now. Okay, Google, volume 80%. Hey, Google, roll 1d20. Oh, she went quiet there. Okay, Google, volume 80%. Okay, Google, roll 1d20.
It's 4.
It's 4, and it's as simple as that. Unfortunately, with Google and the A Lady, you cannot add numbers to the dice. You have to manually do it afterwards. But the cool thing you can do with Google that's very simple is that you can actually put your character's information in there and set up a command. It's called setting up routines. And Richard, it is as simple as going in, writing what you'd like the command to be. So, okay, G Lady, make a strength check, and then she can roll a dice for you and tell you what number to add. I run Warhammer Fantasy games. I've set it up so that when I say, okay, Google, Warhammer test,
13.
she picks a number between 1 and 100, gives me the result. I can also pick the hit location by saying, okay, Google, hit 13.
Left arm.
Left arm, hitting the left arm. So it's as simple as setting up a routine. You can put the information in of what you'd like to say. I have variations on what I might say. So Warhammer test or Warhammer roll, and it will give me a result. Richard, do you have any questions about the G Lady?
Will it do anything like to hit? Or is that what the body and left arm part is?
Yeah, so that's setting it up yourself. And with D&D, you definitely have the armor class would vary. So yeah, it's not perfect yet. You still can't set up adding numbers onto stuff. So you'd literally have to have it roll a dice and then tell you add 2 after the fact
Right.
for a strength check. So I mean, it's not perfect, but it does save information. It does help you along. Not as great as accessible average, but if you like audio feedback, it's a great option to use.
How hard was it for you to do that?
Setting up the routine wasn't difficult. It just taken an hour to sit down and learn it. I did have to set it up for every possible outcome. So if you're doing anything complex like the hit locations, it can take a couple of hours. But setting up your character in there should probably take 1 to 2 hours once you have all your character information down. You can save spells in there. Yeah, you could say like, hey G lady, what spells do I have? And get it to read out a list to you. I mean, that's really helpful when you're in the middle of a game
Awesome. I knew you were a smart one.
every now and
Sometimes.
then. I beat you to it. So next time we got that A lady. So you were saying you've used the A lady before.
Yes.
So this is oh she didn't respond. So how have you used that before, Richard?
Whenever Avery or however everybody else says it lets me down, I will get the A lady to roll, and I will ask her to roll me whatever set of dice that I need. Like,
She has a greater collection of dice than the G lady, I'd say.
yes. And there's also a lot of different skills that she has that are D&D related. Not sure about other role-playing games that they have, but there's a lot of skills out there that are role-play gaming related, such as spells that you can ask it what it does. More so, it's D&D than any other tabletop game because that, again, is the most popular game that is out there. But it's definitely something to look at. And all you have to do is just search in the skills store and it'll pull them up for you.
Yeah, D&D, the Kleenex of tabletop role-playing games. I haven't used any of the skills with it. I was going to talk about them, but have you used any? So let's step back a second. So a skill for the A lady is something someone has programmed that you can then download and use with it. So I described how to make a Google routine, which is a very simple way. Okay, Google, stop. It's a very simple way of getting it to do something for you. An Alexa skill is
Sorry, I don't have any information.
okay,
about
Google, stop. They're listening to everything. An A lady skill is a much more complex version of that, where you have to actually program it. So, in order to create an A lady skill, you have to basically make an entire program to run it. So, they're much more complex than the Google routine. So, Google's great if you want to make a few little changes yourself to run stuff. A lady's great if you want full, fleshed out skills or applications, but comes at a higher learning curve if you want to do it yourself, and you're limited by what's available as well. So what have you chosen that's available, Richard?
I do have the dice bag, and there's some other games that I have, but I'm not going to say I'm very intelligent because you know how I am. I'm quicker using the computer than I would be waiting on my smart device, so I prefer to use it, than something else along those lines because I can usually get the result quicker. But I know Dice Bag is one. There's also one called D&D Dice. I think there's one called D&D Spells as well. I've looked at them. I haven't, I'm trying to think of the word, launched them or activated them because, if I'm not going to use them, I don't want to create a large list of things I'm not going to use.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that you have to launch it with a command phrase as well. So there's an added step to it, right?
Yeah, that, and along with my accent, it will constantly tell me, I'm sorry, I do not understand.
But
I
you have
do
an
not
American
understand.
accent. You guys are the standard, the gold standard for everyone, Richard.
Only with me can I tell it to play my playlist Thursday, and it plays Friday.
That's all right.
So I'm still figuring that one out.
Where I'm from, everyone calls it Thursday. So it's all right, mate. But yeah, the A lady. I almost said it. The A lady is great, but it is a bit more involved. So to get that, you'd really have to be invested to use it. I'd recommend the G lady just because it's simple and you can set up a few customized routines. That's my own personal preference. If you're a programmer, you know a bit of Python, then the A lady's pretty cool. The next thing I wanted to touch on as we're getting towards the end of our time, it's something that people bring up a lot, even though Richard and I don't use it because neither of us read Braille, which people be like, oh my God, you guys are blind and visually impaired, you don't read Braille? No, we don't. We're also half deaf and know little to no sign language, which is why we have the amazing Carrie Allen and Jared with us.
Yeah, the other one.
Yeah, Richard and Jared had a falling out before the event here, but it's okay. They're good friends now. But we want to talk about Braille dice because it comes up a lot. You have what tools we use, and then you have what sighted people expect of us. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I completely understand why people jump straight to, oh, Braille, you must use that. There's three main options for Braille dice. So the first one I'd like to bring up is for all our blind and visually impaired folks listening that read or want to learn Braille, you can get them for free. We have a wonderful person in our Discord server who I ran a game for once and is extremely helpful. She is a volunteer for a group called C3D. So they're at c3d.org. That's SEE3D.org. And they will print you Braille dice for free. They'll actually print you any accessible tools you need 3D printed for free and will mail them to you as well. I'd highly recommend it if you're a visually impaired person and you need materials, don't quite have the money, go to c3d.org and all you have to do is provide them files. So that you need files for Braille dice, which leads me to option number 2, which is dotsrpg.org. They can provide you free files for Braille dice. So you take those files and you can either send them to c3d.org to get them printed, or if you're in a city like Jared and Carrie Ellen in New York, or I am in Toronto, where you have a library that can print stuff free or paid in certain cases. I'm not sure they help visually impaired folks there. You can take the files to your local library or 3D print shop and get them printed there. And then the third option is you can go to 64ouncegames.com and they have Braille dice that you can print on there as well. Those are pretty cool. We also have coming up a few other options. But Richard, do you have any thoughts or information you'd like to share about Braille dice?
Well, not being able to read Braille, I've never used them. I've heard people using them, and they sound like they'd be a lot of fun. I had thought about getting a set and just rolling them in, some sessions and saying, "Oh, look, nat 20," and it could be a nat 1,
Or two
I
of the
never know.
sighted people.
Exactly.
They have no idea you can't read Braille. You just
But I think it's a really good thing that these places are doing. And if they're watching and if they watch this later, thank you.
Yeah. But seriously, like, not to go off on a tangent, but a lot of blind folks and disabled folks are in difficult situations and sometimes on a fixed income, and these sorts of support systems are fantastic and help with things like Braille literacy. So yeah, thank you so much for everything you do, guys. Amazing. The other option, speaking of fixed income, is the expensive paid option. I'm excited about because I love technology, and it's the last thing we'll cover as we're getting towards the end of our time. But Richard knows I've been going on about it for a while, and see, he'd be rolling his eyes. Is Pixels Dice, which I know Richard's familiar with too, where they are digital dice that you can roll, and you sync them up with your phone. So it can display or record the information on your cell phone, or you can set up sounds with it. So when you roll an 18, it will tell you 18. As someone that wears hearing aids, as I'm hearing impaired, I can hook my hearing aids up to my phone. I can roll the dice. It will tell me what's being said, and no one will be the wiser that I have any disability. I think that's so cool. We unfortunately don't have a set to show you. We did reach out to them, and I'd like to say that the guy that created them is incredibly supportive of the blind community, and was unable to send us a set, but he's incredibly supportive. Please go and support them. Their Kickstarter raised like 300 and something % of what they actually needed. It was crazy. They've got a few million in the bank to get them going. Pixels Dice are great. If you're hearing impaired as well, they also light up and can display it on a screen for you. You'll be able to sync them up with different apps and games and everything on your computer, so you can roll remotely and have it displayed on your screen too. Pixel Dice is definitely a great option moving forward for those of us that are visually impaired. I think they're going to retail anywhere between $100 and $200, depending what country you're in. But yeah, definitely a great option. We were going to cover today D&D Bot, how to make accessible documents, how to create accessible PDFs, how to work with different accessibility technology like JAWS and Windows Narrator, NVDA, magnification, visual landmarks, audio landmarks, going through how to run an accessible session. But we really wanted to let League of Eternal Guardians, or Legend of Eternal Guardians run long, because the creator, Barney, has been working really hard to make a fully accessible rule set, and we really wanted to display that, and we're grateful that he came and did it. This is the end of our accessible tools session. Thank you for tuning in to Everyone Games. Please donate to Special Effects and Able Gamers. A big thank you to Richard for joining me as I ramble on to support me emotionally and virtually hug me. A huge thank you to Kerry Ellen and Jared, who've been our interpreters this session. They're amazing. Go and buy Jared's book as well on Amazon. And, yeah, we're going to jump into a session of Blind Dungeon now. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in.
Well, we like Carrie Ellen anyway. The other one, I'm not sure about. Just picking Jared. Jim likes you anyway. Thank you both. Y'all have been great. Thank you all again.
Thank you.